Welcome back to Minimal Momento. Today I'm going to show you how I built these beautiful candle holders from scrap wood. For the first project I chose and glued together 4 pieces of plywood. This will be a nice solid block. When the glue dried, I cut it on size, making sure that the width is the same as the thickness of the 4 plywood pieces. The length is a personal preference, it can be any size. Then I marked the middle of one end and I drilled a hole into the wood a bit deeper than the height of the tea light candle. With the curved router bit, I routed the edges to give it a nice modern look. I also routed the bottom of the block, but my camera wasn't recording. After sanding it, as a finish I applied a coat of Danish oil and 2 coats of poly to protect the wood. For my second project I cut 18mm wide strips. This is the exact thickness of the plywood, so I got these nice square shaped strips. When I've done all the cuts, I started to glue them. First the top and bottom pieces, these are perfect squares. I used my long clamps to hold them while the glue dried, and I made sure that the edges are flush with each other. I could use brad nails here, but I was going for a clean joint without any nails or screws. When dried, I connected and glued them to the longer pieces. As a next step, I repaired all those small imperfections in the wood using wood filler. While I was waiting, I cut the base of the candle holder. This is 1 cm wider on each side. I sanded them, and as a finish I chose an African walnut wood stain. Lastly, I made sure that all the sides are the same distance from the edges. I clamped them together and secured the joint with screws from underneath. I drilled pilot holes to avoid any splitting, and I countersunk the screws to make sure that they are flush with the surface of the wood. For the last one I used some leftover plywood from last week's project, 2 pieces of plywood glued together. I cut it on size and I cut another 2 pieces for the legs of the candle holder. I marked the width of the block on the legs and I drew the area that I'm going to cut out. I used my jigsaw table to make these cuts. After a quick test, I marked and I cut the edges of the block to have a curved shape. Then I made them smooth using my sander. Now I could go ahead and glue the legs to the bottom of the block while making sure that they are the same distance from the edges. When the glue dried, I marked and drilled the holes for the tea light candles. I finished it with a coat of Danish oil and 2 coats of poly to protect the wood. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, we upload content every Friday. Hit the bell notification to get notified when we upload the next one. Like and share our videos to help the channel grow. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram.